how to completely and fully release anxiety and understanding where anxiety comes from so that you can release it before it even starts. That's exactly what I'm going to be explaining in this video, and make sure you stay to the end to understand the belief cycle. This is what's going to help you change. Welcome back to another video. I'm Max Hindle I. I help entrepreneurs release anxiety, imposter syndrome and childhood trauma without years of therapy so that you can live a powerful life. And before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post. But other than that, let's get into the video. So first things first with anxiety. Anxiety is a belief. Anxiety is something that we believe is going to happen. We believe the future is going to be that of negative. And anxiety starts with our thought. Now, if that thought is empowering, we're going to have an empowering feeling, an empowering behavior, and an empowering result, which then leads back to, see, I told you I was good. See, I told you I could do that. And you've probably had this once or twice in your life before, or maybe more than once or twice. But I know for a fact that you've had this at least once, whether that is with a video game, whether that is with a test at school, whether that is with getting a job, whether that is passing your driving exam. There's one or two things that you have done this with at least. And just like a lot of us, there's also one or two, possibly more, and if you're watching this video, it's most likely more, like I did originally, where it's a disempowering thought, which leads to a disempowering feeling, which leads to a disempowering behavior and gives you a disempowering result or unempowering. So let me give you an example of a disempowering, unempowering thought, and let's give an example of exactly what the outcome is going to be. Let's say the thought is, I am not good enough. What is the feeling that is going to come from that initial thought? I am not good enough, and I know I am, and so are you. So if you're watching this video, remember that now, that you are good enough. You deserve to feel worthy. You deserve to feel abundant. You deserve to feel happy. But if we have a thought that is negative, disempowering, that says I am not good enough, which is a lie, that is a lie, it is not your thought, it is a lie that's been programmed into you. So that's what I want you to understand. It's going to give us that feeling of worthlessness. And again, this could be in your language, this could be feeling like you don't deserve, feeling worthless, feeling helpless, feeling hopeless. Now, each one is going to be unique to each individual. But that feeling of worthlessness leads to the behavior of, well, what's the point? What's the point in going to make this video? What's the point in going to speak to those people? What's the point? Because I don't deserve it, so I'm not going to get the result. So then that leads to the behavior being not doing anything. And if you're at school right now, I can give you a great example. I'm not good enough, I'm not going to pass that test. I feel worthless, so what's the point in me even studying? That's the behavior. The behavior is having no behavior, is taking no action, which leads to the result of failing. Or failing, because real failure only happens if you don't continue to go forwards. Yes, we may do not so great on that test. Yes, we may not get that job. Yes, we may get rejected, but that's not failure. Failure only happens when we give up. You cannot fail if we change the thought and we start changing our feelings, we start changing our behaviors, and then we get different results. So going back to the start where we've had something that's disempowering, this is unempowering, this is something we do not want. How is it we want to be thinking instead? Now let's change this to a more positive, a more powerful, a more empowering first thought, because if we catch ourselves at the thought, and if you want to understand what I call the spiral up method, go and check out this video up here, because this will dive deeper into, this is sort of the how, but also the spiral up method will give you a step-by-step process of how you can continue to use this process, the belief cycle, but also in a much empowering and more positive way. So make sure you watch that video. I will link it to the end as well, so that you can go over and see that after watching this video. So let's not even go to the most empowering thought, which is I deserve. Let's just go to a new thought that says, why can't I get that? And if we move to why can't I, and straight away we're asking a different question. We're not saying I can't, we're saying why can't I? If they've done it, why can't I? There's no reason why you can't. Of course you can. You have just as much right as the person that says, I'm not good enough. You have just as much right as them. The difference is you're making and you're asking a different question. Now, if you ask a different question, you get a better answer. That's just a fact. So if you ask good questions, you're going to get good answers. So why can't I get that? The feeling, hopefulness. Ignore my writing, it's very awful. That feeling of hopefulness then brings us to a behavior of what is an action I can take. And let's say it's going to get a new job, applying for new jobs. Or if you're wanting to look and find someone, why can't I ask that person on a date? Versus, I'm not good enough to ask them on a date. Why can't I ask them on a date? Hopefulness, what if they said yes? How amazing would that be? That is exactly what I would want. Behavior, applying or sending that message or speaking to that person or asking them out on a date. You're getting a better result. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get that date. I'm not saying you're going to pass that test. I'm not saying that business is going to 100% work. But this hopefulness can then lead to some potential result. It may not happen first time. And an example with myself, when I first started my first business, my hopefulness was, why can't I start a clothing brand? Of course I can. Feeling, let me get started. I'm excited. That was the feeling. Why can't I? Let me feel excited. Let me have that hopefulness. Behavior. How can I start designing clothes? How can I do this, 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 and this? And that's where I got a logo. That's where I started printing t-shirts and all this kind of stuff. The result, I got the result of making my first sale. Did I make any after that? Nope. But what did that do to my thoughts? I actually did that. I actually got something done. Yes, I didn't succeed, but I got something done. So then that changed my thought to, is there any other business I could go into? What else would I like to do? Which then changed my whole thought cycle. So once we've gone to, why can't I get that? We have that hopefulness. We start applying for the jobs. We start reaching out to people. We start asking and speaking to people if you're going on a date. The result being, you get the date. You get the job. You get some sort of outcome. Maybe you just get an interview. Maybe you don't get the job. But that interview is one step closer to that success. And I'm going to be making a video specifically about how to take action when you have anxiety. Because if you've got anxiety right now, I'm not telling you to go and get that job if you're scared about getting a job. I'm telling you, what do you need to know about getting a job? And as I said, I will make a 10-step process of how to do that and 10 little things that you can use on that. But what this does initially, what this does immediately, is it changes your first thought and takes away, I'm not good enough. As I said, you may not succeed first time. As I said, you may not get the exact result that you want. But once we start to build beliefs, it literally is like building a brick wall. Initially, we have our first course of bricks. Then we have our second course of bricks. Then we have our third course of bricks. So on, and so forth. If we don't start building the foundations, if we don't put the first course of bricks in, are we going to be able to build up on top of it? We can't just build on the air. You can't just go from thought to a result. A thought creates a feeling creates a behavior creates a result. And it's just like how I believe with the law of attraction. The law of attraction is very relevant. I use the law of attraction. I manifest great things in my life. I have manifested great things in my life. Some of them in an instant. But what happens? I have a thought. I want to manifest X into my life. A thought without a feeling, and if you want to understand sort of how the law of attraction works and actually some of the science behind it, when you combine a thought and a feeling, that's when you begin to move into that empowered state, which moves into a behavior, which then allows you to get a result. Thought could be, I want to start a business, or I want to be happy, or I want to be fulfilled, I want to be confident. Why can't I be confident? Of course I can be confident. And we move from the old disempowering thought of, I don't deserve, to then, why can't I? Well, maybe I could. Of course I could. I deserve. It's not going from I don't deserve to I deserve. It's taking the adequate steps. It's laying the next course of bricks. So as soon as you understand this, you're going to be more wary with your thought process. Because if it all starts at the thought, where do we need to catch it? And I want you to comment that down below. Where do we need to catch ourselves to reduce that anxiety? I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to let you comment down below. And the reason I like to explain this kind of stuff is because we need some sort of knowledge. When we have the knowledge, we can then take responsibility for who we are. If we don't have the knowledge, it's very hard to take responsibility. How can I take responsibility if I don't know what I've done? If I kicked a football and it smashed a window, but I had my headphones in, I wasn't aware, and I literally just kicked it, you can't see my feet, but kicked it, and it just went over the fence and smashed a window. I didn't know. How can I take responsibility if I don't know? If I genuinely don't know? How can I take responsibility? I can't. So when we have a knowing, when we have an understanding, and again, like I said, if you need to understand this video, watch it again. Thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to behaviors, behaviors lead to results, and results lead to thoughts. Thoughts lead to feelings, and so on, and so on, and so on. And it becomes a repetitive cycle. And then it's saying, are our thoughts empowering, or are our thoughts disempowering? Whichever one we have is who we're going to become. So make sure you go and watch the Spiral Up method. If you want any more understanding on this, make sure you use the belief cycle and understand the belief cycle most importantly. And with that being said, have an amazing day. Keep spreading love, kindness, and so much positivity. Yeah.